Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, March 26, 2025. So, a lot to unpack. Let's get into it, right? So, Doug, he has been kicked out by Julie and he had to just, sleep it off on a park bench. So, Holly got up. She's worried. She didn't hear back from Doug about what happened with him and Julie. So, she texted him and then he just called her and said that, he spoke to Julie, and Julie already knew what happened, so she kicked him out. So she's saying that I know that she would be angry, but I thought she would come around and she would, respect that you actually owned up to your actions and told her. So he said, somebody beat me to the punch, and she was asking him who did it. So he's saying that he doesn't know. So she's assuming maybe it's Melinda. Well, he's assuming that it's Melinda. And she said, I thought you said Melinda didn't mention your name at the police station. So he said, maybe, I don't know who could have done it. So she asked him, where did he stay? So he said he camped it out on a park bench. And she said, there was a thunderstorm, the night before. Like, how did you manage? So he said, I toughed it out. So she said, you know what? Come over to my house, right? So he came over. His clothes is all soggy and soiled. So she said, you know what? Let me run them through the washing machine. You get a hot shower. And he didn't want to be any trouble as usual. And she said it's no trouble. And she said that she's going to speak to her grandma about him staying over there for a while, which I think is really pushing it. And he was saying that, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, Maggie is Julie's friend. And, who knows if Julie told her the truth about what happened. So she said maybe she hasn't told her yet. And, don't worry about it. And he's like, would Tate feel comfortable about me coming over here at his girlfriend's place? So she said, I will handle Tate. Just worry about getting a shower and everything will be all right. So she, nobody can tell me that, Holly is not growing close at this whole attachment to Doug. But anyways, moving forward, Chanel and Paulina, they had a meeting with Mrs. Choi, and of course Chanel is nervous because she doesn't want nothing to affect the meeting. You know how Mrs. Choi is. I don't know why they put this lady on a pedestal, like she is not flawed too. But anyways, it's like they have to step on eggshells to please this woman. So anyways, Chanel is just hoping that everything goes well and that she doesn't hear about what EJ actually did to Johnny's mom, and hopefully it doesn't trickle through and she finds out. So Pauline is saying that it's none of that lady's business about what happened in the past, right? So she asked about Johnny, and Chanel said Johnny's on his way, and she just worried about Johnny because of what he found out recently, and he hasn't been sleeping well. He hasn't been in the best frame of mind, so she's just hoping that he can pull it together for the meeting. So Mrs. Choi comes over and is wondering, what is she worried about screwing up? So Chanel says she's just really nervous. Everything has, so much things has happened. She just wants it to go smoothly. So Mrs. Choi sits down with them and she tells them that she is happy for her and Johnny to go ahead to adopt her grandchild because she feels good about them. However, she said that her lawyer had some questions and she just wanted to go through them with her. So as she opened up the tablet, there was this article that Chad write. I mean, way to go with the mayor loyalty again. And he wrote it on EJ, this whole big article heading that said the mayor is in disarray, and she was reading through it about EJ's past and present crimes. And she said, listen, like, I don't think I feel comfortable with my grandchild being, raised in the presence of like EJ, right? So she said that we're not even living there no more. We moved out and you don't have to worry about that. So she said regardless of no matter where you guys move, EJ's presence will always be there. So she said that she can't go through with the adoption process, and of course Chanel is heartbroken again because they were this close, and it's a mess. So speaking of a mess, EJ comes over to Chanel's parents' place, right? And Johnny's already there, and he's thinking about the flashback with him as his dad and how it went. And then his dad is knocking at the door, and he's like, what do you want? So he said, I just came over here to ask you to move back. The mansion is your place, and you need to come back. So I said, I'm not going back there. That place is not my place. That place is a house of lies. Like, I don't know what to believe anymore, right? I don't know what is the truth from what is a lie. So he just saying that place will be yours, one day. So I said, I don't want it. I don't want nothing from you. Like, I can't look at you. I can't even for them to look at you, or even just the fact that we're related, it really disgusts me. So I said that I understand that you're angry, and he doesn't really want to have anything to do with him. So he's asking him a few minutes to really tell him, speak his piece. So I said, okay, you have a few minutes. So he said, your mom, she's a strong woman, a great mom, and she basically found it in her heart to see the good in me and to really forgive me. I know what I did was inexcusable and unforgivable, but she found it in her way, in her heart, to forgive me, and we were able to start again. So could you be able to forgive me at some time? So I said, no, I won't forgive you. Like, there's nothing to forgive. Like, I have nothing left to say to you. You're dead to me, right? So he told him to leave, and then he was thinking about a dinner knife, and I said, boy, Johnny, the way how you looking is looking like you wanted us, off your father. That is how it's looking. But Johnny, please do not be like your father. Please to be a step ahead, right? So anyways, to Tate was there feeling guilty about him outing dog to Julie, and Sophia comes over. So they begin to start talking about everything, the adoption process, and hopefully everything goes well, and that Johnny and Chanel will be able to adopt their baby, right? So Tate is distracted, obviously, because of what happened with Holly, Doug, the whole situation. So he tells Sophia that he actually informed on Doug and actually told Julie that Doug stole her necklace, right? So he did it because he owed some people, and he really did something bad, but it was not his place to tell, and now he feels bad about it because once Holly knows the truth, which she will never forgive him. And he's just beside himself. He said that he not only did it just to protect Holly, he did it because he wanted Doug to suffer, right? And I'm just saying that's just really petty and insecure of you, and that's why you're gonna lose your girl to Doug, and I am here for it. So Maggie pays a visit to Julie's place. She brought some lemon bars over, and Julie doesn't have the appetite because she is just distraught about what happened the night before. So Maggie said that Doug could partake in them, and she said no, Doug is not here. I kicked him out. So she said, why would you do that? So she said that Doug was the one who stole her grandmother's necklace, and she found that out the night before. Well, on the day she went to the restaurant with JJ and him, and they saw Melinda Trask with a necklace, and she confronted her about it, and she said she didn't have anything to do with stealing it. So turns out it was Doug, and Doug did not say anything at all. Even months before, when she was accusing her own brother of doing that, Doug didn't say a word. So she's just really upset with the principal, which I definitely agree with. It's not even that he did the action, it's just the principal. He kept it hidden for all this time, and he could have been upfront with her from the beginning. Like, had he done that, I think should have been more forgiving or understanding, because her own husband did some crimes back in the day, and she looked past that. She was able to have a long-lasting marriage with him. So I think that she would have had it in her heart to forgive his grandson. I believe so. What do you guys think? So anyways, Maggie is, sorry to hear that. And she said, you don't even need this now that you've gone through a lot already. And she said, she's heartbroken because she really got the time to spend with him. And she thought that he was a blessing in disguise. Then he came to the gray side of, her husband. And she thought that it was just, a blessing coming from her deceased husband and all that. So she just feels bad. And, part of her really worries about worried about where Doug slept the night, or what happened to him, if he's okay. And she can't believe she's even thinking about it. But Maggie says, you have a really good heart, and Doug, as much as he did that action, he's still Doug's grandson, and he's a decent young man. So anyways, they talk about Holly because she asks Julie where did she get that information from. She said Tate told her. So she said, Tate, I wonder if Holly is mixed up in this. Holly and Doug are really close, right? So she's gonna find out right now. So anyways, when she came to the mansion, she was talking to Nicole on the phone with Jude and all that, and Holly had something to send to Jude. So Holly came in after that, and she wanted to talk to her about something, and also Maggie wanted to talk to her about something. So Maggie said that she just spoke with Julie, and Julie told her that Doug stole her grandmother's necklace. So she's already, seeing on Holly's face that Holly already knew what was going on. So Holly tried to defend herself and said that, she was just holding on to secret because Doug told her that he was gonna buy back the necklace from Melinda, work it off, pay it in installments so that he can bring it back to Julie. So she was giving him the chance to really tell her herself. So she said, how did you find out, like, who told Julie? So she ended up telling Holly that it was Tate's. So I know it's gonna go down either tomorrow or Friday, but I'm here for this. So Mrs. Troy goes over to Tate's place, and she, found the opportunity to talk to both him and Sophia about the adoption. So she said it's not going to be happening. So they said, why? Like, what's the reason? So she opened up the tablet to show them the article that's written on EJ. She said, this is why this is happening. So you guys have to either find a suitable, couple, another suitable couple, or you're gonna have to raise it yourself. And I feel like it's gonna be the latter, because the way how things are going now, that Tate kind of sabotaged the relationship with Holly, and basically pushing Holly and Doug together. I mean, him and Sophia might just pick up where they left off, start back a relationship, and really raise this baby together. That is just my hunch on this thing. What do you guys think? So EJ is back at his place, and he's calling Chad to tell him how he could have write, this kind of article on him, and, he could wring Leo's neck and all that, right? So, of course, Chad didn't pick up the phone call, so it was a voicemail. So Paulina said, Paulina walked in yet again. Nobody is there at the front. So Paulina walls herself into the place and say to EJ, you have a nerve calling anybody else names. Like, how could you have done that? So he's like, what are you talking about? So she said, like, the sins of the father seem to trickle down to the next generation. So he's like, huh? So she said, because of your sins, Chanel and Johnny won't be adopting, Sophia and Tate's baby. So it's not going through. So EJ's like, can I do something to help? What can I do? Name it. I'll do anything. So Paulina said, no, there's nothing you can do. You can't fix this, right? And Johnny said something to EJ earlier about everything that he touches dies. And it's true. Like, every woman that comes to his path, they wilt, like, they're wilted flowers. They're form a shells of themselves. And EJ, EJ is definitely this EJ, but I don't know if there's any redemption for EJ in this at all. Like, he has so much enemies, so much targets on his back. Anybody can take him out at this point. Kristen, Johnny, Gabby, whoever. Like, he has made a lot of enemies in the past couple of months. This is not a good new year for EJ at all. He did not start it off well at all. So anyways, Paulina said, you hurt my baby, you have me to deal with, right? So now he has another enemy, Paulina. So earlier, Johnny did meet up with Chanel and Paulina after Mrs. Troy left, and he's saying, sorry for being late. He saw Chanel visibly upset, and he's asking her what happened. So she said that, Mrs. Troy, didn't want to go through the adoption process. So he's like, why? So Paulina said it's because of your father's misdeeds. So anyways, Johnny and Chanel go home, and Chanel said, we were this close. And he said, I can't believe this happened. And he said, this is because of my father. Like, he's just wicked, just evil. Like, I'm gonna make sure he pays. And Chanel's like, what do you mean? He's a big factor in this thing. But if it wasn't for him, we would have gotten the chance to be parents. And Chanel said, he'll always be a factor no matter what happens. So of course, Johnny has that kind of vengeance in his eyes, and that the mirror is poking out. Whether or not he want to own that part, that the mirror is coming out. So that was really it, guys. I mean, EJ definitely have to watch out. I would say just leave Salem at this point, because everybody is upset with him. Everybody from big to little, small to young, old, they're all upset with him. They have a bone to pick with him. So I would say he needs to take whatever and leave, because it's not looking good for him. But let me know your comments, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you guys tomorrow for the all new recap. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel.